What's going on, people? Welcome to the United Stand. Welcome to the match day road trip. It is the FA Cup third round, and we go and draw Wolves away. Like, honestly, you couldn't make it up. As soon as the draw was made, I think most United fans would have looked at it and just rolled their eyes and thought, here we go again. Obviously, we had a torrid time there last year, and we lost twice. We had a not so great time. Technically we should have won actually in August when we played them, second game of the season, and it was a 1-1 after obviously Pogba missed that penalty to make it 2-1. We probably should have won that game, but it's just Wolves, they just won't go away. I said after that, when we drew 1-1 early in the season, I was like, great, at least we don't have to come back here for a whole nother season. I hate Molineux, I don't want to come back, and then we get pulled out the hat in the third round. It's like you just can't make it up. And it's going to be a proper tough game, man. I'm not looking forward to it one bit. I think it's going to be very uncomfortable. Their fans are always up for it. It's an intimidating atmosphere. They're looking to bounce back after a bad result against Watford. And they're not scared of us. They're not scared of us at all. Like I said, this is our fourth time playing them in a year, and we haven't won one. So we haven't won any of the last three against them. So why should... And when they came to Old Trafford, they got a draw as well. So we haven't beaten Wolves out of 4 times playing them, so home or away. So it's going to be a difficult game. Just to touch on, how we are looking after the Arsenal game. A lot made of Solskjaer's press conferences, a lot of controversy around it. Can I be bothered to talk about Paul Pogba again? No, so I'm not going to. It's just a mess. It's not about Paul Pogba right now. He's injured, he's going to have an operation, so let's just leave it at that. Let's talk about the players that are available or potentially not available. Through the last couple of days, we're looking at Lingard and Martial maybe not available due to illness, and also we know that Solskjaer's got to shuffle the pack. I'm expecting a start for Mason Greenwood. We know Romero's going to play. Luke Shaw having an awful game against Arsenal, I thought anyway. Surely he can't start the match, even if Solskjaer wanted to, because it's his number one left back. He has to shuffle the pack because the games are coming thick and fast. We've got City on Tuesday night in an equally as important game, if not more. In the semi-final at home, first leg at home, we've got to get a positive result to take to the Etihad. So if you're thinking about it, you're like, he has to make changes. So Brandon Williams for me has to start, or Ashley Young, either or, but for me Brandon Williams. We can't really make any changes at centre half because Tuanzebe's injured, and there's no Rojo. Phil Jones, I don't know, hopefully doesn't start. So it's got to be Maguire and Lindelof, which again worries me because there's another game Tuesday. And Wan-Bissaka, is he going to start? I think probably so, but I wouldn't mind if he rested him and played Ashley Young. We have to make changes. Wolves probably the same as well. There's a lot of games coming up. And then in midfield, this is where we've got the biggest problem, because we've gone from... There is literally no one on the motorway going this way. What is going on? I think it's just shut.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, it feels like we're just on the road by ourselves. Like, it fully is shut going southbound. If you're watching this and you're going M1 southbound, don't get on it. A little bit of a traffic update. Yes, it is literally shut going south. It's shut. So if you're leaving and you're going around the Bedfordshire area, junction 10, 11, 12, 13, don't get on it. Anyway, back to the game or the match. Midfield, we know we're light. McTominay's out for probably most of the rest of the season. He's probably not going to be back till March. Pogba, we know, is out for probably 6 weeks or so. And that literally only leaves us with 2 central midfielders of Matic and Fred. And Matic was completely out of the picture, 1 being injured and 2 not being picked earlier in the season. And now we've got to rely on him. If we get even a niggle to Matic or Fred in this game, we're ruined, we're finished. We're absolutely finished. And it's so annoying to see, because it goes back to the summer of not investing in that area. Even Solskjaer saying that, young Levitt and Garner are even injured and not ready to play. They've got to play in the under-23s coming up, I think on Monday, he said. So it really is a big problem for our central midfield. Lingard hasn't been playing very well at all. So who plays in that number 10 position? For me, I play Mata there today. I think he deserves a run in the side at number 10. Even in the Premier League, we just can't find anyone to nail it down, and he hasn't really been given a fair chance. He keeps making substitute appearances. Hopefully Martial is fit, but we're hearing that he may not be due to illness. So hopefully that he's back in the squad. Rashford, he's probably got to start on the left. And like I said, Mason Greenwood for me should probably start. So hopefully he starts on the right, or in the absence of Martial, can start up front. And then it looks like Dan James will probably have to play again. Just getting flashback. Make sure we're doing the speed limit here. At the end of the day, it's going to be a tough, horrible game. Solskjaer's got to be in his bonnet, man. I mean, a lot of people were sort of annoyed at how he reacted to the Arsenal game. Some people not seeing much in it, sort of saying, look, some people nervously smile because they're uncomfortable. Pep's done it before, Klopp's done it before. Fair enough, but for me at that time, I wasn't saying it was the end of the world because it wasn't, but I don't know, I didn't quite like it for me. I don't want to see all smiles. And then Van Persie went on to say, you know, it wasn't the right time to smile. That was his opinion. And Solskjaer, wow, where did that come from? He just shot man down, out the sky, boom, down. He said, took my number 20, but he's not taking anything else from me. Wow. I mean, it's like he thinks he's coming for the United job or something. Like, Solskjaer went in. So, you know, it's maybe good to see a little bit of fighting grit from him. But are the players going to show that at Wolves? You know, we know what they're going to set up like. You know, they can do a 3-5-2. You know, they're very comfortable with that, or a 3-4-3. They're very comfortable with either. They've got players that can hurt us. They've got players that can cause damage. Traore, we know Adama Traore is, you know, he might not have the end product all the time, but he's in good form right now, and he's always very fit, very strong, very fast. You only got to look at Jimenez and Jota. We know what they're all about. Doherty, you know, they're just very, very organised, and they know exactly what they're doing. So for me, it's going to be a very tough game, and I'm just not looking forward to it 1%. I'm really, really not. Wow, there's a huge accident here. This is not good. Wow, that is really not good. Sorry, I'm just taken aback here because that is a really, really bad accident. Yeah, that is really bad. Oh my goodness, that is so bad. I hope everyone's all right. And yeah, I just think it's going to be a really uncomfortable evening. The fact that Wolves might make a few changes because it's come quite quickly for them, yes, that might help us, but also their next game's not as soon as ours, so they can afford to probably play their full strength team. And like I said, I think it's going to be a very similar game to when we played them earlier during the season. They'll sit back, surrender possession, let us not really know what to do with it, and then try and hit us on the counter, and they've got the players to do that. One thing I did like though against when we played Wolves in the first game this season is the fact that we actually did very well in the first sort of 20-25 minutes of that game. We created a couple of chances. I remember Lingard should have scored early on. Martial did score with a rocket, but we just dropped off from them. We allowed Wolves to get comfortable and then you know, get too far into the game and get comfortable when they came out second half and scored straight away with a Neves banger. And even then we picked ourselves up and created a chance, and then it didn't quite work out with the penalty. So I think if we apply ourselves, of course we can win. But this Man United team, with how we are, depleted with a few injuries, the confidence, is it there to bounce back? Solskjaer spoke about when we get a loss, you know, when we've had one loss in December, one loss in November, October, etc., we've bounced back. So according to him, he's expecting to see fight and a reaction from these players. Miles, do you think we're going to get one?
With the recent form we've had, no, not really. Like, there's not a lot of confidence from me in this team to really pull something out of the bag. I think Arsenal was quite a demoralising defeat for me personally, and then with the injuries we've got now, I'm just not so sure that we're going to have it against a Wolves team that are going to be up for it, regardless of who they decide to play. When we come around, they are up for it. The fans are up for it. You know, you can feel it as you walk up to the ground, and then their players just show it every time, which is why we haven't beaten them in our last three attempts. So no, I'm really not looking forward to this one at all.
Well, it's four. It's actually four, including Old Trafford.
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah.
Well,
there you go. There you go.
Yeah.
So yeah, and with such a paper thin squad at the moment, my hopes aren't really that high. And with it being January, I would have thought you would have heard something from Ole in terms of, like, you know, just something, you know, in terms of like maybe looking to get someone in particular in, you know, throwing in a little hint here or there, but it looks like there is, you know, nothing coming in.
And his comments was, if the right player is there for the right amount of money, we'll do it. I mean, Mark was heavily critical of that, saying he doesn't want to hear about value. We're the richest club in the world. Just go and get the player. Do you know what I'm saying? Just go and get the player. Like, we missed out on Perisic when, you know, I think they wanted 50, we wanted to pay 40. As fans, he was saying that it's not our money. We're not going to get the player and go, oh, we've paid 10 million more, or we're not going to not get the player and go, well, I'm glad we didn't get him. I've got the 10 million in my pocket. They're not giving out free shirts because they held back the money, or they're not giving out free tickets. So what do you make of Solskjaer saying, if the right player's there for the right price, we'll do it, and if not, we won't.
Yeah,
Is that a good thing or bad thing?
It's definitely not good. I'm not so sure that it's him saying he doesn't want anyone. I actually do believe he wants someone. I think he is handicapped for some reason by those above. Yeah. So I'm just wondering what's happened to the days of buying Di Maria and Falcao, within a season kind of thing. Where's all the money that we gave to Van Gaal to buy his players, to Jose to buy his players? So that I think is a separate issue. It's a board issue. And that really needs to be rectified. And I think we need a bit more clarity as to why we're not spending the money, or why this money isn't available to Ole, why he can go into January with such a depleted squad, even more so now that more players are injured, and there just be no sign of anyone coming in. Why does he have to say, Timothy Fosu-Mensah is coming back
to be a midfielder?
Do you see what I'm saying? We need a lot more clarity on that. And I think when we don't get that kind of clarity, it just annoys us as fans, which is why we, if the board want to kind of take pressure off for themselves, well, this is not the way to go about it. Like, the fans are on your neck saying that you lot should leave, blah, blah, blah. Come out and say something, come out and do something positive. I think fans are a lot smarter than the board or journalists or whatever try to make out. Fans can see what we need, what their club needs, and I think the board needs to just listen to us a bit more, to be perfectly honest, and just be like, yo, we're gonna back Ole. If we want Ole to succeed and do well, because there are a lot of people on his neck and there are a lot of people who are supporting him. It's a divide at the moment between the fans. If you want to show the fans that we're really sticking with him, which is what you're saying, then give him what he needs, man. There are those people who don't want Ole in. Show them that even though you don't want him in, we're going to back him and show why we
believe in him.
Why we believe in him. Absolutely. Why his tactics can work.
If he's going to be kept there, which he is at the moment, I agree with you. He has to be given the full tools to do the job. I mean, the owners have taken so much money out of the club versus what they've put in, and it just shows where their head's at. I mean, I saw someone tweet, like, not as in like a FIFA thing to get these players, but we can afford like a Neymar.
Yeah.
We can afford like Mbappe. And I'm not saying go and get that player, because we've seen, buying big players for big money and not fitting a mold. I get it. We need a different type of model, but that doesn't mean that we can't use that amount of money to spend wisely and get, a couple of £50 million players who will make us a better team.
Especially if you're coming out and telling us that Ole is the guy that you're going to stick with, then why can't he have the players that he needs? Unless, somewhere slyly, he's not the one you want long term, and you're just kind of bringing him in to appease a certain amount of fans who want him because he's a club legend. So maybe in the back of their heads, they're like, oh, maybe he's not going to be our guy long term, 2-3 years, kind of get him by, get the fans a little bit happier, which is not really happening, and then we'll get someone bigger in. So there's that, which I kind of think about sometimes. I'm like, you know what, maybe they don't really see him long term as our guy. So
well, a guy on TalkSport, I saw a call after the Arsenal game. He literally said, I listened to it and I didn't hear it till today, and he was like, I think he said pretty much he thinks that the board, the club have appointed Solskjaer because it puts the fans in a very difficult position. It's difficult when you have your legend coming back to run the club, because nobody will ever really want to turn against him because we love him so much, but we have to judge him as a manager. So it does kind of play with your heart a little bit. You kind of like, I have to back this man. I want to back this man. He means everything to us as a player. But now we have to judge him as a manager, and when it's not quite going right, it toys with fans' emotions, and then there's a decision to be made, and it makes you feel quite uncomfortable. And it shouldn't always be just about Ole in, Ole out. It should just be about how you see the whole thing as a context.
I do think that the board are very clever with bringing Ole in, as you said, as the guy said, to kind of please fans and keep them quiet in terms of, like, they won't want to get out someone who's a club legend like that, so they won't push as much as they did for Jose and whatnot. But at the same time, what people need to remember is that at the start, the majority of us were like, just getting someone who knows the club. That's what we wanted to change, and that seemed like the right change at the time. So the board were clever to bring in that person, but that's also what the fans wanted, and I think that's what people shouldn't forget. There are a lot of people like myself who aren't really convinced by Ole's tactics and don't necessarily want him around after next season, but I can't forget that I was one of the people who did want a change, and a change in that direction where it was like, just bring someone in.
So see it out, let's see it out.
So even though personally I'm not really a fan of his tactics, and I can see now that for me, he's not the guy, we have to see him out. We have to see, what why the board chose and blah blah blah. But I think after a while, after this season, once you realise that he's not the guy, just keep him moving. And
okay, fair enough. Give me a score prediction today.
An honest one or a
100% honest.
100% honest. We lose 2-0.
Okay, that was honest. I think it's going to go to a replay. I think we're going to draw, and it'll go to a replay. I feel uncomfortable with this game. I really do. I don't know if it's just a personal thing. I just hate going to Molineux. They're just always up for it. They're a good team, and we just can't buy a win there. Hopefully today is the day that changes and we see a reaction, but I don't know, I've got a funny feeling it's going to be a draw. Drop your views in the comments in the boxes below about predicted team lineups, what you thought about Solskjaer's comments in the press conference, and if you think we're going to get a result finally against Wolves. I mean, there will be proper scenes if we beat these. It's not just because it's not like we've reached the final, but just because it's Wolves and we just cannot beat them for love or money. So let us know what you guys think. Drop your predictions in the boxes below, and we'll see you guys at fan camps, hopefully in the hat for the 4th round, and when we draw probably City away. Big thank you to you guys for watching the latest of our videos, and if you want to check out more, make sure you do that just to the right of me. We are the biggest and best Manchester United channel in the world. Make sure you check us out on all of the socials as well: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and YouTube. The socials are along the bottom. Peace.